So this morning we're back working on this 2008 Chrysler Town & Country with the brake fluid level sensor problem. Yesterday I experimented with an '08 Avenger, which has basically the same circuit, and when I measured the voltage on that circuit it was 5 volts with the connector unplugged, but this one's 12.5. Here is a previously enjoyed brake level sensor that I obtained from the wrecking yard. Partly because I'm not 100% certain that this is going to fix it, so I didn't want to spend $100+ on this sensor, although the original equipment one from the dealer is like $78 or something like that, so it's actually cheaper at the dealer. But if you look at my last video, it said that the spec on the resistance of this sensor was between 9 and 11,000 ohms, and this one measures 10,170. So I'm going to install this one in there. Now there is a little tab that has to be released on the bottom of the sensor, so you need a little prying tool of some kind, a little pick, to reach in there and underneath the master cylinder through the plastic and release this tab. Compress that tab slightly and it'll pull out. There will be no brake fluid leaking out. It doesn't go into brake fluid at all. So that's a good thing. So we'll get this sensor installed in there and see how it works. So I've got the ignition key on, and I've got a variable resistor dialed in at 10,000 ohms connected across the sensor connector right now. I still have the new sensor, or the new used one, in my hand, and it shows normal voltage, 2 volts roughly, 1.94 volts. And normal brake fluid level. Now I suspect when I plug this connector in, it should indicate low brake fluid. So I'm going to do that right now. Well, that's not a very good sign. I still don't understand how this thing works. Now the sensor is not installed in the actual master cylinder. You can see that when I disconnected it here, it went to roughly what did it go to? 2.59 volts, and now it's down to 1.92 volts. And it's indicating normal, and yet it's not installed in the master cylinder. So it's not a simple switch. It doesn't appear to be magnetic. The symbol in the circuit schematic is for a thermistor. I'm not sure how it works, but we will install it in the master cylinder. Maybe I'll try and evacuate or draw the brake fluid out of the master cylinder to create a low fluid level and see if it actually responds. So there's the sensor installed in the master cylinder now, and as you can see, it's indicating 1.98 volts and a normal brake fluid level condition. I'm going to take a suction gun and suck the brake fluid out of the master cylinder. So I removed as much brake fluid as I could from the master cylinder, and you can see that it actually went from, well, it dropped down to about 1.92 volts, but it was up a little higher. It's actually dropping, but unfortunately there's a baffle in the master cylinder, so I can't extract, I can't get through to the side that has the remaining brake fluid in it to drop it any further. So, but based on the fact that the voltage did drop, and it's on its way to probably around 1.5 volts, where it actually will trip the light and turn on the message on the dash saying that it's low on brake fluid, I'm going to assume that this sensor is working. I'm going to refill the master cylinder. So here's the voltage and the fluid indication now that the master cylinder is full and the engine is running. This little glitch here that occurred while I was cranking over here. The other thing that strikes me as odd about this system is that it's affected by the vehicle running. Normally when they use a stepped voltage like this, they use a fixed 5-volt reference, and this vehicle does not appear to use that, although the '08 Avenger that I checked yesterday had 5 volts at that sensor with it unplugged. This one has 12. So there is some kind of hocus pocus going on in the totally integrated power module. This sensor, I'm going to take it apart and have a look in there. It's obviously not a magnetic switch like most of them are. There's got to be some kind of electronics in it. Yet Chrysler doesn't tell us how it works, of course. But for now, we're going to leave it as that. I'm confident that it's repaired. The light is off. The brake fluid level indicates normal, and it's sitting about 2.3 volts, whereas with the old switch in there, it was like nearly 3.5. So I pulled apart this sensor, and you can actually see some kind of electronics in it, but it's molded in plastic, and you can see the evidence of salt water have found its way in there and corroded it. But again, I'm not sure how it works. I have another one here that I took out of another master cylinder that somebody tried to remove without depressing the little plastic clip. Like I said, there's a little plastic clip in the bottom of the master cylinder that you have to press, and then a sensor will pull out. So when I was at the wrecking yard, or recycling yard, somebody had tried to remove one of these from a vehicle, and there you can see there's obviously some electronics in there, and they had broken the sensor. So this one still measures 10 or 11,000 ohms, but I didn't want to put it in because it's obviously compromised. But you can see there's not a simple switch in there. There is some kind of, well, there are a couple resistors, there's a little printed circuit, obviously. Interesting technology. I don't know what that piece is on this end here, this one right here. It's actually a little glass tube. Flux capacitor maybe? Who knows?